this game.
And do you see him going off in that lane?
On what though?
As Timber?
So Timber or the Pan?
They're gonna.
He's gonna be Timber.
They're gonna try to match the Timber versus DK,
Yeah.
and they're gonna put some like aggro dual lane and have the bounty running around. I think that's like the best option for them.
So you're all in on isolating the DK in a 1v1 with the Timber?
That's what they want.
Yeah.
And they in turn,
I feel like the COL lanes are too flexible for that.
Okay, let's go down the line and start with you, Alan. Which way?
I have to pick complexity. This is the formula they've been following for the last couple of weeks, but again, same story as game one. We've seen it online. Can they do it on land?
Okay, strong draft. Fogged enough to convince you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cole. I'm not sold on the bounty hunter this early. I think he got punished too hard with the 3 cores. I think he can't make great rotations. It's gonna be like Ice has to go off on Timber completely.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to just go off on one hero in this current patch. You need to be able to have like at least 2 cores carrying the game. So
and there's Spirit Vessel. Spirit
Vessel,
so
you're going to
good
have
versus
Silver
Timber.
Edge on the DK as well. You're going to have some mana burning aspects as well. Necronomicon.
Yeah.
It's tough.
All right, okay. A clean sweep from our panel members for complexity this time round. Pray to God they haven't cursed them. Good luck, lads. You're going to need it.
Well, we thought we managed to avoid the curses when no one actually predicted on the OG panel, but now, complexity, they look pretty solid, Blitz, coming in for this draft. Look, everything good. Mineski, a little bit more unusual, but you can never really count him out either, can we?
Yeah, but I hate Timbersaw as a hero.
Really? Even with Ice playing it, because like that's a splendid thing to watch.
Yeah, that hero...
Why such disdain?
I'm trying to like figure out how to say this. It feels like one of those heroes that has to absolutely snowball, or does very little.
But Ice normally gets more out of his lane than, I wouldn't say most others, but he always seems to have a good time in his laning phase.
Yeah.
With the Timbersaw.
And Ice for me is like he was the model Timber.
Yeah.
When he first came on, like that's I think when I really wanted to play Timber, because Timber's like my second favorite hero. I just watched like 10 Ice replays in a row to figure out what he was doing differently.
What did you come up with after the 10 replays?
He was pretty ahead of the game with the skill build when he just like maxes reactive armor and runs at you, which at the time, like, I mean, it's so common now, but like back then it wasn't as common because he wanted to be a little bit more offensive with this hero.
What do you actually think with this game? Like the panel was talking about like what happens if you match up the Timber against the DK, and is this the way you do it? Are you happy to do that on the top lane? Do you want to push Moon around and get him away from that Templar Assassin?
Yeah, I think at the same time, in the past, the Puck versus TA matchup was it was okay for Puck, because what Puck does, Toby, is he shoves in the wave, and TA can't do anything about it, and then you just get right-clicked under the tower. It's not as easy as people think. Like, the CSing is whatever. When it comes to the Timber versus DK, though, that's also not as bad, because Dragon Knight has such a high amount of regen with the Dragon's Blood that it's not as easy for Timber to just shove him out.
No. So it just becomes more of a trade-off, especially like you're not going to be running any kind of consumables up to that DK, so we can start spamming out his Breathe Fire, because at least you'll have that against the Timber.
This is like these are both like nice skill matchups to watch, especially this mid one.
Well, Pimp will have to make the choice as our observer. Mid lane's going to be a little bit harder for Ninja Boogie to harass already because he's got the Sentry Ward down from Complexity. So Limp does have that level of protection, even though they did miss the Observer Ward a little bit further to the east.
Yeah, and Mu taking a lot of damage from the Whirling Death.
This will only hurt for the first level, right? Like, once he gets 3 and gets the 2 points up.
It's gonna suck for a while. Not gonna be real here. But once you get like Soul Ring, it's not that bad. On the side of Mu.
I don't think so.
Well, they still need to get some level of CS out of this right now. He's 1-0 versus the 4-0, so Ice is all over him. Carl's having a hard time on bottom lane with jabs. Like, they got to be careful about this bottom lane, but you don't even have the extra stun yet. Like, VS went for the first point up in Aura. It's all about the farm. It's all about the lane pressure for Mineski's safe lane.
You see, by the way, the Puck, like, he's doing just fine in CS.
Yeah.
There was a point I made about Mineski, like why I thought they were very successful and why I thought they fell off. And when they were very successful, it felt like they had this core rotation of heroes for Moon. Like, they didn't change his hero pool at all, if that makes sense. Like, they would move everyone else around. Ice plays like...
Goodbye, Kyle. 1 point of Maldic is enough to ensure he's going to tick out. Jabs will get the kill from that.
Very nicely done, but the entire point is like, you can move those two heroes around. Like, Mushi can be very flexible. Ice can be very flexible, but you need one player on your team to like have an assortment of heroes that he's very comfortable with. And for Moon, if you think about the heroes like that he's very good at, it's Puck, Mirana, like those are the two, when they were dominating, that he was playing all the time. So it's like, you got to give your mid player what he's very comfortable at, and they're doing it again.
Yeah, shards up. Mushi trying to cut his way through the tree lines. Hard time when he gets picked up and thrown back in, but the paralyzing cask. Mushi needs some space, but won't get enough. Chessie, with those Lycan claws, are able to reach just far enough to get the kill onto the safe laner of Mineski.
Yeah. Double Mango, plus his base HP regen with Feral Impulse. Gives him like 6 a second, that's absurd.
Ice is still having a lot of fun up on this top lane.
Yep.
While the CS looks even for now, he's still got a decent creep wave to still mop up. And Moo's quite happy to give him 2 whirling death hits onto him, making life a little bit more difficult as Ninja Boogie will rotate in as well. He doesn't really have a lot to work with. Like, he's level 2, but that small slow coming in from both the Janata as well as the Orb of Venom. Yeah, that's not enough.
You see the
charges.
DK though? It's okay. Like he's CSing just fine. Like he's only 3 or 4 creeps behind. It's not that bad. And this Puck matchup, like he's winning against the TA. These are matchups that you don't typically think of as winning matchups, but like the more experience you get with them, Toby, it becomes better. Like at the higher levels, it evens out a lot more than at the lower ones.
I actually thought the movement from Z-Freak early on was going to be a little bit more useful just because the vision advantage for complexity, but you're right. Even with the influence from the supports, the lane matchup is nice and even. The only place the kill's been happening is down that bottom lane. But the top lane's going to be... It's going to come into play sometime soon. Ice is still enjoying his farm. So as always, having a good time in the laning phase, but it's what they do with it. And maybe that's where our mind should actually start looking towards. Like, do we just keep our eyes on this bottom lane, and when does the balance start to shift? Like, do you look for either side of Complexity or Mineski to move their cores out the middle of the top?
I think the Puck is the most liable to move. I think it's going to be how Moon decides to move his hero around. That matters the most. This mid matchup, though, is so interesting for me. But all that thought is the bottom.
Shards into the telekinesis grab. Snowballs coming in too. Mushi not high on health as he tries to run away. The rest of Complexity can't get there. The paralyzing cast practically ravaging Complexity on the bottom lane. And the Maledict hit on practically all of them too.
Yeah. That felt like the most fortunate amount of cast bounces.
Ends up with Z-Freak dying and Jabs finding the kill, so Mineski will be happy with this. This aggressive maneuver from Complexity not paying off. Even though Kyle as well as Z-Freak can be doing a good job, these brothers making sure that Mineski can't just easily pull and change the equilibrium of that bot lane.
Things are still relatively even-ish. Mineski's doing fine. I think they're okay with how the laning phase is going. I think they hoped maybe that this top lane would be a little bit more one-sided, but...
Yeah, it's neck and neck, that top lane.
The Venge, even with her death, is tops of the net worth, or the CS. So it hasn't even suffered too much. The early laning phase doesn't feel like it matters as much anymore. Anyways.
Going again on Mushi. Shards this time won't block him in. They needed that to happen for Z-Freak to reach his telekinesis grab.
Yeah. It's really difficult now to go aggro against the Venge. This is the upside of having Venge as a core, is that she's very tanky. Like, good stats all around. She's level 5 now, higher level than anybody on the side of Complexity's tri-lane.
Does Ninja Boogie get back in time for a courier snipe? Everyone prepare yourself for some rare drops.
He's...
Oh, no! 5 HP on the courier. 5 HP on the courier. Barely survives, and he just put down that fresh observe ward so we can see it. Ice is now flexing his, well, his shell towards Mu.
15 reactive armor stacks.
I was thinking muscle, but really, Timbersaw does not look like he's got... He skips arm day every day.
Nah, he's jacked, dude.
He's jacked?
You just can't see it under the suit yet. All natty, bro.
So that's his secret. You got to give him better clothes to showcase the guns. Bottom lane, Complexity moving through the tree line once more. They're trying to wrap around the back of Mushi. And with the aggressive observe ward down by Kyle, they notice that no one's actually in the lane. It's Jabs off to the left. But maybe Mushi finds his own target as Mu up on top. Okay, the Wave of Terror is going to miss. They're bouncing back out again. Maybe Z-Freak won't be so lucky. Caught in the trees with a Maldic. They'll save him with a Snowball and goes back to the Catapult. But in comes Moon. The perfect time to arrive. He'll find that kill. Moo out of mana up on the top too, so no kill up there. But Complexity's gank not really working the way they thought it would.
Yeah, this is what we talked about, right? If anybody was going to make a rotation, like what is the TA going to do with the rotation? She can't kill the Timbersaw. Bottom lane is too much of a commitment for her. And this is the downside of Complexity's lineup, is that it's not easy for anybody to really move around and gank. Like their cores are going to be very stable in that sense. Like they're just going to sit in the lanes and try to recover whatever they can. They don't have the options like Mineski does. Because Mineski has two very, very active heroes in the Puck and the Bounty Hunter. And even Ice has the option to rotate in, and that's why we see in this mid lane, it's going to be Moo that makes the first rotation.
They're coming down for jabs right now. Paralyzing Cast going to isolate Kyle, but no, it bounced up to the Ancients, so he'll just snowball himself forward. Doesn't really find the target. It's already
getting
dead,
low, though.
But this TA, so low on life. The Maldic Pop still got one more hit. Will it be enough on it? And it will be. Jabs will find the tick out as Ice now chasing down Moo. Wherever you go, he'll go too. No, unfortunately, can't go there. TP back out to the shrine inside the dire jungle to safety. But TA for a Witch Doctor, not the fight they were looking for.
Did you see the timing, by the way? He was half a second away from getting Refraction, and he would have lived right there. But very nice counter rotation from Mineski. And this is the benefit of their lineup, is that they can just chill, allow Complexity to make these moves, and they just passive-aggressive react. Because you have all these heroes that can come in after.
This should be a solo kill right now. Ice is being initiated on. They've got no Timber Chain points. So he's staying inside the shards, but it's Z-Freak moving underneath the invisible Moon. Yeah, who still
armor.
Decided not to attack.
There's 0 chance they kill him.
I thought for a moment committing both Dream Core, level 4 Orb, and the 1 point up in Rift may have been enough to kill Rubik. But he decided not to. He held it. Complexity have already backed off now to bot lane. Chasey's gone jungle. Kyle as well as Lim. This is when supports get your money. I'm not exactly certain who... where's those icons over the top of the creeps? To let us know who gets the extra gold. I'm seeing Kyle getting some extra points, so I'm assuming he did the ancient stack.
I am 99% certain it's Kyle. Who has placed a sentry in anticipation for the Bounty Hunter, but Ninja Boogie then just switches to the other angle.
There's still another sentry there, so they can see him.
Yeah, but without a dust, this is a very hard kill. Both the supports are so slowed down right now.
Ice having more fun with Moo on the top. But the 2 points now up in Timber Chain as Moo just Dragon Tail stuns him to just keep him at bay.
That was close.
Damage can be fast. Without that extra Dragon Tail stun time, he may have been in trouble. But he rotates bottom. So Complexity, what now? Turn this into a tier 1 tower push?
They want to. And this is the downside of Complexity as a group, is that they feel so forced. Like all these movements, when they feel forced, that's when Complexity feels the worst to me. And they make this rotation bottom because it's the only play that they realistically have. It's too hard for them to take mid because Puck can just keep spamming out the waves. But nobody's really leveled. Everybody on the side of Mineski is not being hampered by this rotation whatsoever, as in mid lane, this is the play.
Oh, the TP! No, doesn't make it out in time. Went for the phase shift, just tried to dodge the stun. But Moon can't get out from underneath that tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, on the bottom, paralyzing cast. Chessie has triggered off dog form, but Ninja Boogie's arriving. So is Ice. They want their target. It's going to be the Dragon Knight. Swap back into the fight, and Moo will go down. So Puck for the DK. Chessie's ultimate also being burned. And the tier 1 tower remains alive.
Did you say dog form?
Yeah, dog form.
Yeah, why wouldn't you say wolf form? It's the same amount of syllables. There's no difference. You didn't even save any time.
There's no logic in what I say. I just prefer a doggy. And you can blame Matubberman for that one because he always called it the dog strap.
Yeah.
So that's where my brain goes with it.
Yeah, but he's got dogs. But he himself, Toby, he's a proud wolf.
He's the alpha dog.
Yes. No, he's a wolf, Toby.
Alpha wolf. Is Lycan technically a wolf? Or is he just...
He's like a hybrid thing, you know? Why are we having this discussion?
Hey, well, would you prefer to actually ask the question, is Tuskar a walrus? But obviously you didn't get that one either. Moving on. Ice adding that pressure on bottom lane. Z-Freak's attempting the defense. And we're only 12 minutes into a cast with Blitz, and after my time off, and already he's in trouble. Timber Chain stolen by Z-Freak. Moon can't go anywhere. Again, this Dream Call will just hold him in position. No way for this DK to survive as Mineski, as 5 dive underneath the tier 2 tower. Moon wants to come back to defend the mid.
Look at that. That's so good by Moon. He instantly TPs to mid because he understands that they have to make this play, but where's the backup?
It's coming. It's coming a little bit late. Ice is coming over. Kyle, he's buffed up or debuffed with the Veil. And he'll run away to the safety out to the east.
I really like that move by Moon. Like, it's risky, but he takes aggro off the tower because they understand they have to keep this tower alive. It's how Lycan thrives. Like, if you take this tier 1 bottom and you take this tier 1 mid, then Lycan gets a free game into the jungle, and it allows the supports on complexity to catch up. But by denying that, it makes it so the Lycan has to continue to participate in these awkward-ass engagements. Like, Chessie doesn't want to play like this.
He wants to relax. He wants to finish up that Necro book.
Yeah. He's level 7 at 13 minutes. Like, this is not the type of game that you envision as a Lycan. And it's because they haven't been able to take these tier 1 towers that are so crucial.
Well, they've always been holding hands on the bottom lane. Ice with his level 11 is very happy to jump down to Chessie. If only he can get past the shield of complexity players.
Yeah.
And he cannot do it, so Chessie will finally claim that tier 1 tower. It's the first tier 1 tower. Took 13 minutes for complexity to grab it.
You notice, by the way, what Ice does is that even though he is very tanky, he doesn't risk that. Because a lot of people get this thing where Kuro used to call it like strongman syndrome, where you're playing a Timbersaw or a hero like him, and you think like, I'm unkillable, because you've survived 1 or 2 instances.
Yep.
But in Dota, Toby, you can get 1-on-5 and go down, and you're going to throw away that large-ass net worth that you built up. Like, he has the highest net worth in the game. If he risks going in 1v5 and dying, it is worth it for complexity to commit that many heroes.
Ushi, I don't think you even want to start the ancient stack farm now. Bounty Hunter in trouble. It's a full smoke wrap
everyone's
around
getting blown
by
up.
complexity, but the paralyzing cast making life difficult to move in, and here comes Ice, but it's already too late. 3 arrows down for Mineski and complexity. Maybe now they can take this tower, but they have to push through both Mushi and Ice.
Yeah, this is a very nice TP. He didn't go back to base. He immediately TP'd mid instead. But sloppy engagement from Mineski. Like, complexity, that's what I mean. You have strength in numbers, you can win those engagements. And they were also very surprised by this TA Blink. Like, Limp has had a lot of stacks to work with. He is not underfarmed. You have to respect this hero right now.
Yeah. Do you also just expect that Blink to come out first as opposed to just rushing up like higher damage dealing items?
Like the Deso?
Yeah, something like a Deso before. Like, what's more common at the moment?
So I asked a lot of TA players, and one of the better ones that I know is CCNC, and I said, like, when do you go the Deso versus Blink? And he says, I almost always go the Blink, because when you get the Blink on TA, it feels as though you're invincible. It's very hard to die on this hero all times. Good question, though. Because I literally had the same thought. I was like, because sometimes I see players get the Deso, and I was like,
I think it was CCNC in the game early today. He went for the Deso early, but they were looking for Roshan, I believe.
Yeah, if you go for the early Rosh, I think it is impactful. Like, if you can get a 12-minute Deso and you just walk in a Roshan pit, sure. But it was he himself that told me that Blink just feels a whole lot better. Like, if you can get away with it.
As long as you don't fall to the strongman syndrome. Ice is adding a lot of pressure on the bottom lane against Chessie. Kyle's looking at this, understanding he can do nothing.
And look at this, like, he doesn't force anything. Like, he immediately TPs back. A lot of players.
Trees, Greenpeace has issues.
The rainforest.
Actually, he's cutting almost perfectly through, so he's still okay, no, never mind. Like, large amount of trees dead.
Yeah. He hit the environment, too.
You need to have that, what was that quest we had back in the Battle Pass? How many trees were killed today?
Oh, that was the worst.
With the Timbersaws who would just TP back to base and take it all. Z-Freak, he is tracked up, but thanks to the track marker, he's already retreating back to the tier 3 tower away from Mineski, while complexity out there pressuring towards mid. There's Dream Call over on 2, quick phase shift, and here comes a jump forward. Ice. He wants this Dream Call to snap, hasn't happened yet. That VS combination just not there yet. Instead, Jab's actually having trouble with Limp. Doesn't get that last attack off with the Maledict. He's a little bit concerned with the refraction charges going down. Ice. Chains in deeper, looking for Z-Freak. A pick up and throw away. Z-Freak feels safe. And complexity once again being denied that mid-tier 1 tower.
That's what I said, right? They're going to go for this mid-tower right after. They take the bottom one. This is how they're going to create space for the Lycan. But this has long been the knock, Toby, on Complexity, is that they become a little bit predictable to play against. If you've seen one Complexity game, it feels like you've seen a lot of Complexity games.
Isn't it that weird thing? Like if you look back at the days with the original Epicenter, Complexity were all about draft something crazy, unusual that's just going to give us this buff up, and we can just win that way. But when we saw this draft today, I was almost just like, this is just really consistent, solid play, confidence in themselves to execute the draft.
Yeah.
But yeah, counter predictable.
Yes. But at the same time, like Mineski,
Oh boy,
how do you win a
Bushi.
fight?
That's a lot of damage on Z-Freak.
Oh, Bushi bodied him.
Yeah. 4 hits on the Magic Missile stun as well, and he came out with Mask of Madness and out of the Shadow Blade too.
He deals a lot of damage. That's like 200 a hit. You are not surviving as a Rubik.
Mm-hmm.
Downside of playing Rubik as a 4 position. Like a lot of these 4s have these natural escapes. But the burst damage is there.
Moose revealing himself so much. They're going to come underneath the TA traps, but thanks to this smoke, Mineski actually hunting the Templar Assassin. The
Yeah, I don't know if
DK
he
is
reads
obviously
this.
a harder one to get, so go for Limp instead. Is there a swap timing? Limp already used his blink, so here comes the Magic Missile. Meld is available, but then again, tracked up, nowhere to really hide. Paralyzing Cask and the Maledict and the Death Ward. They don't want to take any risk of getting close to these tier 3 towers. And with the TA trap, still not enough time for Mu to get there. He would have come underneath the Radiant Observer Ward. So TA down, no buyback for 40 seconds.
He's not going to need it though. It's such an early point in the game. The downside though, or the upside I guess, of playing with the Timbersaw versus playing against a Timbersaw is that normally when that move gets made onto the TA at top, you have some kind of rebuttal. Like you would go kill whoever's doing this to you at bottom.
You're going to kill Ice.
Yeah, it's like, as long as he's somewhat careful at this point, he's golden. And now Complexity have to ride this out, because there's no way that I think they can take a straight up fight. They've got to jump somebody and take a 4-on-5. It's way too hard right now.
You want predictable. Ice is predictable doing this type of stuff. He'd always do it with his Broodmothers and his Timbersaws. Add the pressure on the lane where the other 4 are not fighting.
Yeah, soak up a lot of this attention.
Mhm.
That's how they were able to take the mid tower originally. It's just a nice play from Mineski.
He always gets so much experience and gold from it too. Like he's walking around with BTs and a Bloodstone. So Ice understands the pressure he wants to apply across the map. And then going to go into a Shiva's Guard to be even more unkillable. Because not like he's walking around with 36 armor currently, with the 20 reactive armor charges buffed up. There's your Dream Call, catch onto the Templar Assassin. Do they have enough? Into the backlines, the DK. Good damage onto Jazz with the Paralyzing Cask. It comes out. It's 2 down right now for Mineski as Mu looks for more, but Ice looks for him. The Chakrams slowing him down. The Maledict pops just too much damage, but the damage is also nice and high out from Chessie using these Necro books to work as Ice plays the Cliff game. They actually steal the Timber Chain. You've lost your Shard, and Ice still wants more. But he won't find it. 3 heroes lost from Mineski, but 2 big cores down for Complexity.
Very nice moves by Ice. Sometimes though, this is the downside of Timbersaw, is that you're the last one alive. You don't have this lockdown and everyone just runs circles around you and pokes you. But very nice plays overall by Complexity to make that sort of even. They took that fight very nicely. They isolated the supports first. And the Necro 3, like this is a very reasonable timing from Chessie. He's done a very good job of recovering in this game.
Ice has tried to pressure him to stop it, but as you said, like this is what they were doing before. This is Complexity sacrifice. They needed to get that grab. Now they might get a grab onto Ice. Z-Freak holds him in position. He can probably Timber Chain for the kill secure. No, Limp will claim it.
That is what I mean about you're this Timbersaw. You think you're invincible.
Yep.
Buddy.
But this is the trade-off.
Yeah.
So you've managed to drag almost every single player from Complexity down to
They don't
bottom
have a
lane.
TA trap in Roche?
And no, they do not. Mineski are now going to get... Oh, the scans coming out from Radiant. Ice is even going to arrive for this. Do you... Okay, yeah, Mushi's moving the one down.
Way too late.
They're giving it to him. Yeah, they can't reach it in time. So there is still a decent trade-off. The downside is the fact that Timbersaw lost Bloodstone charges,
That's
having
whatever.
that before the gank.
He respawns so fast anyways. But it does give up a lot of XP more than anything. This is a level 18 Timber that you like team took down. It wasn't easy, but they did it. Like look at the dive in XP, even with the Roshan.
Yep. Some good money in for everyone. It's mainly Limp. Now he can work towards that BKB of his. That way it's going to be a little bit more difficult to dish out that damage to the TA. Not like they have an Omni Knight to give them the repel, like the panel was talking about for maybe 5th pick.
You got to be more careful though, as Ice.
Boogie, he's underneath the sentry ward. Kyle saw him. Starts his back up. And sentry for sentry.
This verifies. If you're Complexity though, you shouldn't take this fight. Not with the Roshan up. Or the Aegis, I should say.
Look how they just left the sentry ward sitting there. Maybe they didn't see it in the nighttime vision. But Mushi starting his attack into the tier 2 tower. Ice is on the bottom while you've got Mu up on top, so we've still got that floating 1 from both sides. Trying to add pressure to the side lanes. There's a quick blink out. Limp happy to take the stun before
Nice
it gets
dodge.
swapped in by Mushi as Kyle able to dodge out the attack. The Centaur stomp is perfect. And Mushi will go down. Aegis Immortal is triggering as Ice puts himself in harm's way. Mushi can't get out. The shards from Kyle are perfect. And Mushi will fall 2 times. With no real answer to the Complexity lineup, Chessie moves forward. He's chasing down Ninja Boogie, keeping him out of the play. But now they can turn around. The paralyzing cask with the malediction, working with Ice. Kyle can't run out of this one. He has to stick around. Chakram's off cooldown right now. And Ice is focusing on Limp, allowing the puck to wrap up the Tuskar. But does he have much more? Ice wants to keep fighting. You got the small army from Lycan here behind Chessie to help him out. There's no more stuns available. A quick phase shift. Z-Freak's jumping up, looking for the real puck. Silence battling underneath the shrine, needs more mana, needs more life, has none of it. 4 heroes down for Complexity. Chessie able to TP away to safety. But the sustain, we thought it was going to come from the Complexity lineup, but instead it's Mineski. It's Ice.
And that was a fight that I think they should have been happy with just getting the Venge. Like, Mineski very much overextended there, but with Complexity, without the Dragon Knight, like, the lockdown simply isn't there. Once the DK and the Tusk went down, there wasn't going to be any more stuns. You have to disengage at that point. It's not easy to kill this Puck or this Timber Saw when you can't lock them down. It works both ways, Toby. And at the end of that, they were just able to mop up as much as they wanted. Even though it looks like Moon is in a killable position, he's a Puck. You have 0 stuns against him. He has a very free game. And now he's almost got the Aghanim Scepter as a result of this fight.
Then that BKB is not really going to help you. You're still going to get swapped into stunned.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for, so that Limp, the next time he makes that kind of play, he's stunned forever. As we're going to see right here again.
It's the cast control. Limp and Mu just can't go anywhere.
Yeah. And you see Limp, like, he is at half HP, but he feels as though he has to continue to take that fight. Like, maybe somebody on his team was saying, like, we can still win this fight.
Maybe.
It's like, well, you killed the Venge and you took her Aegis. Be happy with that.
Yep.
It's the little things.
Well, they're coming in for another engagement, so a 4-man smoke up by Complexity. Warding mission as well. These are not real pucks. So no smoke break. Another observe wall being planted down, so at least they establish vision over the Radiant jungle if they get nothing more from this. But Complexity, they have to want this tier 1 tower. But at the same time, surprise items coming in. The TPing in puck has the Aghanim Scepter fully completed. I've actually got multiple ways to trigger on the Dream Core too, because you've got a 4-staff in the hands of the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, you got a Shivas too on this Timber Saw, which makes him even tankier. And that item is really annoying against the physical damage dealers on the side of Complexity. Like, they almost all have physical damage.
It's like Meld and Deso do nothing. Move. Well, he got left behind. The rest of his team is coming over now. The Shard's holding him in, but the Malediction is on him. And here comes Ice with the Chakrams. Tuskar caught in the middle of it, so say goodbye to your DK and probably your Tuskar as well. The Timber Chain doesn't connect, but it won't matter when Mushi is just throwing out the right clicks. They're trying to get rid of the Necro Books, protecting jabs as much as possible, and they're able to do so. 2 heroes lost for Complexity, and they all didn't really seem to be on the same page.
No, not at all. That's a fight it's getting increasingly hard to take these fights when all these items are flying in. The Shivas, the Aghanim Scepter, these are items that you have to respect, Toby. These are not minor pickups.
Yep.
These are significant ones, and for Complexity, it feels like they're just not content. That's the best way to put it from my perspective, because if you're content as a team, you take 1 or 2 of these engagements that are positive, but it always feels as though COL, they pressure themselves into taking the extra step that they don't necessarily have to take. Like,
So you take one fight, then you're instantly looking for the second one.
yeah, you get this Vengeful Spirit kill and her Aegis, and you think like, we can't just be happy with that. We need more.
Yep.
And that's always been the story of Complexity. Like, they need more, whereas Mineski, like, they're my dark horse team in this tournament. They were very, very close to beating Liquid in that series at, was it Starladder? Like, those were both very winnable games.
I always just look at Mineski and like even when the panel is sitting there and they're all just saying, you know, complexity lineup's good, complexity lineup is good. There's just something about the Mineski aggression which just unsettles a lot of teams. And yeah, just for that pure reason alone, no, you don't want to count him out, but then you're buffing him up with the Bounty Hunter. Here we go again. Tuskar snowball up. He'll take the stun. Carl, no way to really dodge this one. So Track Gold starts to free flow the way of Mineski. And Complexity, they have to kind of shore the ship somehow, but Ice. Well, right now he's boarding the Complexity boat. Sits underneath the tower. He does not care. Even gets the fortification out without a real creep wave.
And Mineski, they're daring them right now. They're saying, we're going to hit your high ground.
Yep, here comes Olymp. He goes for Moon, but it's the target. It's the reason why you always say like the matchup is a little bit more fun, but jump in, Chessie, fresh BKB going to work. He's trying to run to the back lines, but they need to get Ice. The Timber Chain will pull him away to safety. Jabs, Ghost Scepter protecting him with the swap out. That will do exactly that. So the BKB is burnt, the Dragon Form is burnt. Mineski can just reset because they've lost practically nothing. Yeah. Dream Coil's off cooldown in 3 seconds time, so they're ready for the control factor to arrive. And they go again, the shards forward. Ice, the front line hitter. Gets all the reactive armor charges up from just the creep wave, so Complexity, no, like even if Limp hits him with Meld, it does absolutely nothing. You drop him down
a little bit low.
Okay, he's still at 50 armor.
Yeah, he's just fine. I do like that though. You notice what Mineski's doing? They protect their supports. I hate when teams just abandon their supports. It's just like, well, what can we do for you? Your supports are your stuns. They're your back line as well. Like, they're the ones that are meant to extend the fight for you oftentimes.
Yep.
And you notice that Mineski, they place this premium. Mushi puts himself in harm's way. He has no BKB up. He swaps jabs to get him into a better position. Like that. Like that a lot.
Because if that orb did connect, then it would have been very, very problematic.
And when you're ahead like this, Toby, the easiest, if you think about it like this, like the easiest way for a team to come back into games where they're like 10, 15k behind is to kill the supports, because it's easy to do. It's cheap gold. Because of the net worth differential, you'll get a lot of gold for doing so. And so for Mineski to protect their supports at all times, it's just a good sign of a good team.
Yeah. All on the same page.
Yes.
Now Complexity, like, how do you steady the ship? Like, there's bigger items on the way. The Aghanim Scepter is flying out right now to Ice, so we're going to have double the Chakram fun. You've still got Solar Crest, high levels on the Bounty Hunter. You have a Blink Dagger on Z-Freak. I know he's normally the guy I turn to for Complexity, just to make the plays that change the fights around. But, like, who is the critical thing? Like, what does Complexity focus on when Mineski practically is 5 all time now?
I think you just have to avoid the fights and be comfortable with
Can you do that with Roshan now, being on the platter? They have a TA trap in this time.
Yes. They really needed that the first time around. Like, the fact that Mineski were able to just sneak that.
Complexity smoke's already broken. Moon jumps in. He's looking for the target over on Chessie. Ice is there. The isolation onto Mushi. He gets the BKB off and into the invis. And wait, no, he won't. The Necro has to stay in close. Mushi has to die to Chessie. No, he doesn't see him. The Necro books it and keep up. So Mushi will be able to escape. And Ice is in there to try and capitalize. If he can find the moment. Jabs and stuns. They did most of the work. Mu, snowball protection is there from Carl, but in they come. Mushi keeps the battle going, bringing down the shards, bringing down the heroes. Complexity in way too deep. Limp wants to run away. The blink will allow that to happen, but the rest of Complexity fully tracked up. All 3 players are. So Mineski have the choice. Do they push? Do they hunt the kills? Do they go for more? They hunted one of the kills down. Limp will die up on the top lane. It's a little bit early for that. Well played, Moon, but still, Chessie on the run from Ice. He knows he just has to TP out this one. So do you go high ground now with a very long death timer on the TA, or is it Roshan?
I think you go for the high ground and then you go for the Rosh. If they go for the buyback, then you just go for the Roshan.
All right, we're doing tacos. Why not both?
Yeah. If they have buybacks, like if you're, because obviously on Mineski, you're not entirely sure. If you're one of those teams that are crazy and you constantly ping out the Bounty Hunter track gold, but
you may not care considering DK's Dragon Form's on cooldown. You know the Lycan Form's on cooldown too.
Oh,
and
Chessie.
Now they get a Dream Coil out.
Nice combo.
And the snap. Goodbye, Chessie. Lycan's dead for 70 seconds with no buyback. Oh boy.
That could have been their fight. If they killed Mushi, do we have a replay of that? Like, Mushi was so close to dying there.
I would love to see it.
goes back, he TPs, I think, to the shrine, heals up, then they all in commit for him again, but the heal from the shrine is a little bit too much. That's like a brutal way to lose that one.
He was the critical one they committed for too, but the Necro units just couldn't keep up with them. Complexity can only see Roshan happening, so they have eyes on this, but Mineski have an observe ward up on the hill right in front of the Ancient, so they understand the position of the Tusker. They'll see the rest of them coming in. This observer ward's about to pay dividends. They're going to look for the kill. Tracks are up. Sentry's down from Z-Freak, but the observer ward's too far. It's a little bit more of an obscure ward up to the northwest. Wave of Terror, Roshan, 2.7k. Here comes the Sigil. They found that observed ward, so the vision is now gone for Mineski, but time is running out. Roshan, 600, 300. The window is closed. Roshan belongs to Mineski. Aegis Immortal into the hands of Mushi. And the cheese is also in his paws as well.
Now the key for Mineski is don't throw away the sleep. Like, be careful when you go for these engagements. Mushi has to relax a little. You know, you had an awkward fight with the last Aegis, but this time around should be your play. And for Complexity, it's try to force Mineski to overextend, continue to push in this bottom lane as often as possible so that Mineski have to continuously go back, because you need to burn this Aegis timer for as low as you can.
Well, it looks like Mineski won't give him the chance. They already drew the line to go straight all the way across the top lane, so they'll get rid of the Shrine. So no way for Complexity just to TP in behind them in case something does go wrong. And what do you really get as a trade-off here? Limp can potentially take the tier 2 tower on bot.
Limp needs to push this in as far as he can, and the rest of his team needs to already be top. Like, especially this Rubik and this Dragon Knight. They have to spam out the wave as fast as they can. And you need Limp to be in a position where he can come back as late as possible. He needs to pressure this bottom area even more, because if you get into a position where you just have to get into a high ground fight, it's going to be so awkward, because you can't kill anybody at this point.
Yep. At least Z-Freak's able to slow it down by taking out the creep wave with both Soul and Chakram, as well as that Fade Bolt, but there's the snap. Exactly what they look for. Mu is instantly dead. The buyback comes in. Limp's already burned his BKB, looking for the target, but the jump flying. Chessie down to half-life. Not what he was really looking for, but maybe with the spill damage from Mu, they're really clustered here. Mineski, they're trying to retreat, but they're just splitting up the fight. As you said, with the 4 stars, how can really Complexity get the upper hand on positioning? They're going back in again. The Death Ward creating space. The double Chakrams. Kyle, no way up to safety, gets sliced in two as they go in deeper. Mineski, the buybacks here for Complexity. Mushi, the Aegis Immortal will finally pop. The Bounty Hunter will die in the back line, so one support down. Can they get much more? Limp is battling Jab, so yep, there goes the secondary support, but Ice, the big frontline tank with Moon and Mushi by his side. Keep the pressure on, and Complexity's top racks, not only under siege, but in ruins. Z-Freak is trying to slow this up, but Limp's not ready to fight yet. He doesn't have his BKB. He's tracked still in the back lines. They want a good target, but they don't really have one. They go now on towards Moon. Limp held in place just by the Dream Call. They're pulling him down. Limp battling against Moon. He needs more, but the refraction charges. They all get taken out by the Chakram. Complexity, they're losing way too many heroes. The second lane of racks is totally gone. And the buyback from Limp, all it may do is just slow down Mineski as they'll back out before they push again for the bottom lane.
It took like 7 heroes from Complexity. They finally get the 2 supports from Mineski, but at that point, Mineski are like, no, now we will let them die. It's okay. None of the cores on the side of Mineski are dying.
Oh, it's going to get worse too. That's an Octarine core coming the way of Ice. He's got 26 Bloodstone charges and would still have money for buyback after buying the Octarine.
He is so obscenely farmed.
They're coming for what? Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's just watch this top push again. This is that combination the panel was talking about. This is the reason why VS as well as Puck are the combination heroes for Mineski. Coil, swap, straight up. No way to protect yourself with the Ags upgrade.
Really not certain what you're supposed to do here as Complexity anymore.
Pray.
Is that... Did my eyes deceive me, or is that 31,000?
That is 31,000. No deceiving. Experience as well is it's a little bit shy of that. It's about 27,000. The 3-man Dream Call into a straight-up swap. Chessie evaporated. The only thing you see left of him is the fluff from his back. Here comes the Paralyzing Cask a little bit further forward, and Z-Freak move. They can't go anywhere. Limp's protected by his BKB, but no level of protection will protect Complexity from this. This is GG. Mineski will take the game with... Oh boy, Complexity all day.
We were debating if it was a wolf or a dog, but it's a